Breaking, Trump announces creation of DOGE. I can't.
It's been memed into existence.
Donald Trump has announced DOGE. I kid you not. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will be leading up the Department of Government Efficiency. I love this. I'm so happy Donald Trump won. The Republicans, they got the House. Mm-hmm. They're at 219 right now, according to Decision Desk. And
the Times still hasn't called it.
Yeah, but who cares?
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
They've played themselves.
And Fox hasn't called it. But let me just say, Elon Musk has memed into existence a government agency called DOGE. And, well, we have the statement here. Actually, Libby, you wrote this. Do you want to read the statement?
Yeah, let's see. I could read the statement. I didn't really write it. Whoever wrote it for Donald Trump, and I just put it into the article. I'm pleased to announce that the great Elon Musk, working in conjunction with American patriot Vivek Ramaswamy, will lead the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies essential to the Save America movement. This will send shockwaves through the system and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people, stated Mr. Musk. It will be the Manhattan Project of our time. It goes on for a while. Vivek Ramaswamy replied to it as well, so that's sort of...
I saw that he posted the
He said,
statement.
"We will not go gently, Elon Musk." That's what he said.
Oh, my God. They
totally wild.
He memed... Yes. There's now a government meme department. Like it's a department based on memes.
Yes, that's exactly what's going on.
At least we're having fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think it is a couple of things occur to me. First off, which is we're shrinking government by adding a government agency to shrink government. So I hope that that's effective in that process and not actually just creating another government agency. If you remember back when DHS was created under George W. Bush after 9/11, the idea was that, this would bring together a bunch of agencies all at once and, combine things and make things a little streamlined. And instead, it has a $60 billion budget and hundreds of thousands of employees under DHS. And it really expanded. It's bloated. So I'm really hoping that Vivek and Elon can get in there and actually do some trimming instead of just staffing up.
I heard RFK Jr. is going to fire 600 staffers. Is that true?
On the first day?
He hasn't even been named to the FDA yet. Right. So he doesn't have a position as yet.
There was rumors going on X that his intention was to eliminate 600 staffers.
I think it's definitely possible when you look at government and you think about, I don't know if you guys have ever worked in offices. I don't know if that's working in an office. There's a lot of nothing that just goes on. And then you sit around for a while, then you order lunch.
I can speak to this. When I was working for the government, I worked for Homeland Security Investigations under ICE. And there are a lot of bureaucratic positions that, quite frankly, aren't really needed. I'll be honest, most of the work done by the government is done by 20%. The other 80% aren't doing anything.
So it's like in normal offices.
Exactly. But it's even worse because government employees have almost no incentive to actually work hard because it's a salary that's kind of set depending on what your GS or GL level is, depending on what pay scale you are. So, then on a Friday after 3 p.m., nobody's doing anything. Everyone leaves early, et cetera. So, I'll say it. Government employees are fucking lazy. That's just what it is.
Well, I mean, it's because they're impossible to fire.
Right.
Yes. Very
and also there's no bottom line. So it's not like you're beholden to anything. Mm-hmm. If you screw up in your government position, it's not like, it's not like the company loses money. I mean, the company does, but you don't care because that's just our money.
This is the libertarian argument to everything. But if you don't have a market, which the government doesn't actually participate in the market, if you don't have a market to give you feedback, people think that markets are inherently bad or they're just for people to make money. Prices are information. If you have something that isn't selling, that's feedback from the market. Without prices, without actual competition, without feedback from the market, you don't know if you're actually successful or not. And with the government, they just print the money when they want to do something. Mm-hmm. So they can
or they take more of ours.
Well, I don't want to get into that argument. Not that argument.
Okay.
The thing is, if they want to do something, they just print it, right? Taxes and inflation are used to
or they just take a debt. They'll just go to a company and be like, do it, and we'll owe you the money. Trust us.
Yeah.
And they got to raise the debt ceiling.
But But the point being, like, there is no competition, so they don't care what it costs. You hear stories about, I don't know if these are current, but you hear stories about, like, $10,000 hammers, because if you don't use all of your budget this year, they will cut your budget. So you have to spend
That's
all
like
that
in
money.
education, they do that too.
Exactly. So
I can speak to the law enforcement side. Like, there's only a small minority of the agents that do most of the work, right? Like, they'll go ahead and do the big arrests, do the big roundups, etc. Like, the case agent is the guy that runs the case, and then he has people helping him. But very few officers have like go-getter agents. Most guys are in there from 10 to 3 p.m. and they don't do anything. They don't do surveillance. They barely write reports. They're not doing crap. So I remember, like, I'd be the guy that'd be up late at night. Hey, I need some guys to help me with surveillance. Oh, bro, do you have to work now? I'd have to get the task force officers out because they get overtime and that gets funded by the federal government. So they would love to do it. So I would always take the TFOs out, but I would never go out with actual agents because they never want to work.
They just didn't want to do the job.
They don't, man. They don't. Especially after a couple of years, they got a family. They don't want to do shit.
yeah.
And so you'd call them and be like, it's time to do work. And they'd be like,
They'd get pissed at me
That's
all the time.
nuts.
When I want to do surveillance, because I was in a drug group, when I would do late night surveillance, especially on the southwest border where illegal aliens and drugs are coming in like every day, you're watching a house, you need people to help you out. Hey, I need a couple units to help me out with this. They're like, bro, why do you got to do this, man? Stop working so hard. Because I was like 24 when I got there. So, yeah.
The idea that you were told stop working so hard in a
all the time.
in a law enforcement, I mean, it's like, look, man, if you're in the Department of Education, or if you're in like Health and Human Services, or if you're in, I mean, even the Department of Energy, Sands, anything that's not the nuclear stuff, I could forgive someone saying, stop working so hard. But you're talking about legitimate law enforcement. That means that
and it gets even better.
lives are on the line.
It's even better. This is the cream of the crop, right? To be a special agent or 1811, they hire less than like 2 to 3% of their qualified applicants, right? It's a GS-13 position, right? Which is basically like not managerial, but you kind of run your own schedule, take home car, all that. And they're still being lazy. So this isn't even accounting for the majority of government employees that don't have that type of authority. And they're even worse. So if they're being lazy like this at the top level, you can only imagine at the lower ones.
It's unreal.
The problem with government agencies is that, for one, it's extremely hard to fire people.
Yes, very difficult.
They hire people and then you can't fire them. So it's a one-way ticket into the machine, and there's just no way to dismantle it.
Or if you do fire them, this happens a lot of the times too. Let's say you get fired and you like sue. What'll happen is they don't want to deal with it. They'll hire you back. They'll give you your back pay. And then they just kind of put you like at a desk job where they don't got to deal with you. And then they just let you kind of, do your 20 and get out.
You know what people I think need to consider about this bureaucracy stuff is that a lot of it is fake economics. It's manufactured economic stimulation.
Yeah.
They don't want to get rid of a lot of these jobs because they want to take your money and give it to someone so they have busy work. This is a staple of socialist and communist countries.
Yep.
So like when I went to Venezuela, they make fake jobs for the purpose of someone having a job. Then they tax you and use that to pay the person and make you pay it. Mm-hmm. We have this problem in the United States. That's why I'm excited for a DOGE, so they can just nuke it. Just got to do it.
Cut it. Just cut it.
Yeah, well, this is true for like healthcare, right? So everybody agrees, whether you're on the right or the left, the healthcare system is wacky and it makes no sense. The problem is every time someone goes to members of Congress and like, how do we fix it? They go, it's 20% of our economy. Mm-hmm. Like, you need that woman in the bureaucratic position shuffling papers back and forth because it facilitates the exchange of value between people. That's it. It's busy work.
It is busy work. Yeah. And the other thing, too, that is interesting is you had Kamala Harris running on labor, and saying she was going to bring labor together. There's a huge difference between public sector unions and private unions, because private unions work for companies that have bottom lines. And so if you're a private sector union worker and you ask for a raise, and your union asks for a raise, you're going to look at the bottom line of that company and you're going to say, this is the value we provide. This is the increase in the, profit that you get. Let's negotiate here. But with government unions, all they have to do is say, we want a raise, and they're negotiating against nothing. They just, as Phil was saying, you print more money, you tax more, you don't care where the money comes from, you just spend it. So public unions, their entire job is to just continue bloating the government.
Yeah. And then it used to be, for a lot of these positions, it used to be something called a competitive 13 or a journeyman, which would get you into the 6-figure range for most 1811 positions. I know DEA had it, U.S. Customs Service used to have it before the merger with DHS, but they did away with it in a lot of these agencies. So you basically make, you get to GS-13, you're making 100 to 150,000 depending on what AOR you are, and there's no reason to like go harder because you're like, oh, I make my money, I'm going to get it no matter what. And then especially with law enforcement with the 1811s, they got something called LEAP, Law Enforcement Availability Pay, which is basically 25% plus their base salary, and that comes no matter what and no matter how many hours they work. So they're less incentivized to go out there because it's not based hourly or overtime or anything like that.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.